And it was filed on September the 2nd, 2018. And it reads, on September the 16th at approximately 20:41 hours, and that would be 8:41 p.m., I arrived at McDonald's to see if they had the surveillance video ready. I spoke with a different manager than before, and she advised she did not know anything about the surveillance video being requested. The manager advised the supervisor is the only person with access to the surveillance video system, and they would not be back until later in the week. I asked the manager if she would pass down the information on the video surveillance that was needed, and she agreed. On 8/17, I received a voicemail from a McDonald's supervisor advising he needed more information on what camera angles are the ones that were needed. On 8/19, I asked Officer Dahl if he would go to McDonald's to speak with the supervisor and inform him of the dates and times that were needed for the surveillance footage. Officer Dahl advised me the supervisor uploaded as much surveillance footage that would fit in the flash drive, but did not have enough memory and needed additional flash drives. Officer Dahl advised me he dropped off additional flash drives at McDonald's. Officer Dahl placed the first flash drive that contained the contained footage in my mailbox on 8/24 at approximately 20:38 hours, and that would be 8:38 p.m. I advised the McDonald's and spoke with the manager. I asked the manager if she knew if the other flash drives were ready, and the manager advised she was not sure what I was talking about and called her supervisor on the phone. The supervisor advised he did not know what camera angle were the ones that needed to be in the flash drive. The supervisor advised the cameras they have pointed outside do not record any footage. That is very unfortunate. That would have been important footage. I advised the supervisor that I would advise him if the inside camera footage would be needed. On 8/30, I asked Detective Baumover if he needed any surveillance video from the inside of McDonald's. Detective Baumover advised me to get video of all day on 8/13/2018. I went to McDonald's again and spoke with the manager. The manager contacted her supervisor, and he advised me the video on 8/13 was already deleted because it was not saved. I will attempt to contact the security surveillance system to see if they are able somehow to retrieve that video footage. The one flash drive that had video was submitted into evidence. Nothing further. Officer Perez. Going on down. Again, Detective Baumover. Well, this is Detective Baumover's report, and he filed this on September the 4th. And it says murder in the first degree. Victim Shanann. Victim Bella. Victim Celeste. Arrest Chris Watts. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative of when the investigations occurred. On 8/13 at approximately 13:40 hours, Officer Coonrod was dispatched to 2825 Saratoga on a check well-being call. The reporting party, Nicole Atkinson, called about her friend Shanann. Nicole stated she dropped Shanann off at her residence after returning from a business trip that took place in Arizona. Nicole stated Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant and was not feeling well during the trip. Later that morning, 8/13, Nicole became concerned because Shanann was not answering her phone calls or text messages, and also missed her doctor's appointment that was scheduled for 10 a.m. Nicole went to Shanann's residence and discovered her car in the garage with car seats positioned inside it. Note: Shanann and her husband, Chris, have 2 daughters who are 3 and 4 years old. Nicole attempted to enter the front door, but a latch prevented it from opening more than 3 inches. Nicole called Watts and requested he come home to check on Shanann, as she believes Shanann may be suffering or passed out due to some medical conditions. Call notes are as follows. Concerned about her friend, 15 weeks pregnant, she wasn't feeling well. She is having issues with her husband as well. Not responding to text messages or phone calls. Shanann Watts, unknown date of birth, early 30s, late 20s. That's weird that Nicole Atkinson wouldn't know her best friend's age or birth date. I always thought that was kind of off, because most of us, if you're like best friends, you know that. I don't really think that Shanann, and I could be wrong here, I know they were pretty good friends, but I don't think they were quote unquote best friends, because even in Nicole's interview, when they ask her, well, you're like her best friend, right? And she goes, well, yeah, I guess we work together. So I don't think they were like super, super close, but I think they were pretty good friends, and I think that's Nicole's about the only one besides like Amanda Thayer that lived close to her that she really hung out with any. I don't know how close they really were, but I know they was buddies, And she was really concerned about it. Nicole just seems like a really good person that, she's concerned, right? But as far as them being super duper close, I don't know. Something leads me to believe they wasn't that close. Her vehicle is a white Lexus parked in the garage, and she's not answering the door either. She's also had a doctor's appointment this morning that she didn't show up for. Her husband's name is Chris Watts. Shanann took other 2 kids on a play date. She doesn't believe this because her vehicle and car seats are still in the house. And this is Officer Coonrod's report. No, actually, this is Baumhover's report, yes. It says, upon arrival, Officer Coonrod checked all windows and doors, including the rear slider door, and discovered all of them were locked, with no way into the house. Officer Coonrod contacted Watts and requested the code for the outside emergency door keypad, who stated it didn't work, but that he was only 5 minutes away. When Watts arrived, Officer Coonrod entered the home with Watts's consent in an attempt to locate Shanann and their 2 children, but discovered they were not in the home. When questioned by Officer Coonrod, Watts said Shanann arrived home from her trip at around 2 a.m. Watts said he woke up at around 5 a.m. and began talking to Shanann about marital separation. He wanted to initiate the separation. Watts stated it was a civil conversation and they were not arguing, but they were emotional. Watts stated at around 5:27 a.m., backed his truck up to the garage door and loaded up tools and left for work, and that Shanann was in bed when he left. Note: a neighbor's video surveillance system recorded this event. Watts said Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house later that day with their 2 children, but didn't know the friend's name. Watts, who works for Anadarko, stated he went to a job site near Hudson to check on it. At Officer Coonrod's request, I responded to the scene and arrived at approximately 14:35 hours, and that would be 2:35 p.m. Upon arrival, I was briefed by Officer Coonrod and also learned Shanann's personal effects, including her cell phone, purse, wallet, and medication were located in the house. Upon entering the residence, I observed Shanann's purse on a kitchen island and a suitcase located at the bottom of the stairs leading to the bedroom. A pair of women's shoes was located near the front door. Upstairs, I observed the bed in the master bedroom had been stripped of its bedding, which was lying on the floor. Officer Coonrod and I both checked the bedding for signs of foul play, but found nothing. In a loft area located between the bedrooms was Shanann's cell phone that I later learned was found between 2 cushions on a sofa located in the loft area. On scene, I asked Watts to walk me through the period of time when he last seen Shanann. Watts said Shanann arrived home from the airport at approximately 1:48 a.m. because a doorbell camera sent an alert to his phone. At approximately 4 a.m., he informed Shanann he wanted to initiate a marital separation, and they were both upset and crying. Watts said Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house that day. Watts did not know which friend she was referring to. It should be noted, when I asked Watts a second time to recall his day, he told me he worked out of his basement for 15 minutes that morning before returning to his bedroom to speak with Shanann about the marital separation. Okay, keep in mind that in the prison confession or interview or whatever you want to call it, I don't really know how you can call it a confession because he wasn't under oath or anything, but in the prison interview, he also said that he didn't remember working out that morning, that because they specifically asked him, why was there so much movement going on in the basement, and downstairs? I mean, there was like all kinds of movement going on down there that morning before you left. What was going on? And he's like, I don't know. I don't even remember really going down there. And then he kind of says, well, maybe I went down there and got trash bags or something, but I don't think I worked out that morning, but I might have. But it's like everything he said here, he don't remember saying for the most part. I mean, it's a fact. The truth is a hell of a lot easier to remember than a lie. So I'm sure the truth has been kicking his ass ever since he was arrested. The lies he told during all this, well, they just kind of faded away, and the truth has tried to take over. I don't even remember saying that he worked out, but as you see right here, he did say he went down there and worked out for 15 minutes. So, he definitely was in the basement that morning. I mean, of course, we already knew that and so did Tammy Lee when they went and done the prison interview, but he damn sure didn't remember it during the prison interview. So at the prison interview, it's like he was trying, everything he had remembered since this happened is kind of there. So something was going on in that basement, and he straight up said he don't remember working out that morning. Tried to throw it off as going down there for some trash bags, but that's from the way Tammy Lee and Kovac was talking, that sure is a hell of a lot of movement in a basement area just to get a garbage bag, right? So in my opinion, there was a whole lot going on in that basement, more than just running down there and grabbing a trash bag and leaving. Period. That's my opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there, but yeah. Watts said that he and Shanann, were having financial troubles and planned on selling their house and getting something smaller. I asked if they were planning on residing together during the separation, and Watts said he would get an apartment somewhere, and Shanann and the girls could move into a smaller house, and they would share custody of their kids. So it's like he already had all this planned out, man. This divorce, it's like he already knew exactly how they were going to go about it. It's almost like they had talked about it, and Shanann did say in text and talking to buddies, custody's 50-50 in Colorado. So, in my opinion, all that said, not to mention Shanann had talked to an attorney, just a random attorney. It's not like she went to his office or anything, but she did meet up with an attorney, met an attorney when her and her friend went out to eat, and she had a pretty lengthy conversation with him about how divorce worked in Colorado. If you haven't heard that interview, I'm going to put that on here as well. It's pretty damn interesting what he has to say about all the questions she was asking him and everything. So in my opinion, divorce had been talked about by these two. I believe they had talked about it in the past. Watts showed me an email via his cell phone from a realtor to prove the intention to sell their home. The realtor also said that really she was shocked that Chris was the one that called her because she had been dealing with Shanann. Watts said at approximately 5:27 a.m. he backed his truck into the driveway to load up tools, which he estimated took 10 minutes, and shortly thereafter drove off to work site near Hudson. Neighbor Nate Holmes' video surveillance shows Nicole's vehicle leaving at 1:48 a.m. and at 5:27 a.m. Watts' truck is observed backed into the driveway and leaving a short time later. The surveillance video is only motion-activated clips which appeared to have a delayed recording response. Using Nate's Xfinity login and password at a later time, I was able to observe Watt's work truck parked in his driveway for about 37 minutes, and then he left at approximately 5:45 a.m. A legal request to Xfinity is pending. Watts also showed me an alarm notification alerting him the garage door was left open at 5:27 a.m. Okay, he was still there at 5:27 a.m. But 5:27 a.m. is when he opened the garage door, according to this right up here, right? At 5:27 a.m., he's observed backed into the driveway and leaving a short time later. But Chris is saying, well, look, I left my door open at 5:27 a.m. Watts said he received the same type of alert for the basement door earlier that morning and appeared to be puzzled by both of the alerts. And why would he be puzzled? Why would he be puzzled that the basement door and the garage door opened at about the same time when he was there? We know he opened the garage. We saw all that on camera. Okay, who opened the basement at the same time? Who knows, right? That's a good question. That would be, nice to know. But yeah, basement door and garage door, both. You see, garage and basement, 5:27 a.m. And he was acting puzzled by them. Well, he was there. I asked Watts if he closed the garage door when he left at 5:27, as he reported. Watts said he thought he did. I asked Watts if he had received any other garage door alerts after that, and he said he had not. Knowing Watts was employed by Anadarko, I asked him where he went after leaving his residence. Watts said he went to an oil well site near Hudson, but was not able to provide me with the well site name. Well, isn't that odd? He knew exactly what the name of that Survey 319 was. He had been thinking about Survey 319 for at least a few days now, but yet he's not wanting to tell the name of it. Come on, Chris. Did you not think they could find it out? I asked Watts if anyone could vouch his arrival at the oil well site, and he said no one was there at the site until later, and that he went there early to check on a repair before starting his normal duties. Watts provided me names of co-workers Cody Roberts and Troy McCoy, and of his supervisor Luke Apple. I asked Watts again for the oil well site name, but he said he couldn't recall it, citing it wasn't a normal site for him to check on. Well, Chris, I don't get it. Really, it just doesn't make sense. They could have figured it out. Did you seriously think they couldn't find out? We know you knew what it was. This had been a plan of yours since Friday when you met with Troy and gave him your fire stick. Well, and Cody called, so you knew the name of the site. You went straight to it. So it's making you sound definitely not credible, worth a damn, when you're sitting there saying you don't know. When I spoke with Nicole, she reiterated much of the information I had learned from Officer Coonrod upon my arrival. Nicole added she was certain Shanann went inside the house because she backed her car up to get a better view of the front door, and she watched her walk in. Nicole also said there was no way Shanann and the girls could have left the house other than through the garage due to the doors being locked. Nicole said Watts typically does not back his truck up into the garage or leave through the garage in the morning. Nicole explained how Shanann would become upset with him because the noise of the garage door opening would wake the girls. Nicole was adamant Shanann would not leave the house without her phone or medications or take the girls anywhere without their car seats. Nicole was unsure if Shanann may have had any other medications in the house that she could have taken if she left. Provided consent to check Shanann's phone and ultimately surrendered it to allow me to examine it for information leading to Shanann and the daughter's whereabouts. Subsequently, I transported the phone to the Frederick Police Department and began reviewing her apps in an attempt to locate any messaging, purchasing receipts. While at the Frederick Police Department, I spoke with Officer James, the night shift patrol, about the call. I informed Officer James I had Shanann's cell phone and was searching it for information about Shanann's habits, friends, and to see if she had any recent email or messaging traffic. At the end of my shift, I transferred custody of Shanann's cell phone to Officer James to continue the search and contact friends. Refer to his report for more information. A neighborhood canvass was conducted for several hours later that evening by patrol officers, and a check well-being bolo was initiated through the dispatch. An additional search, consensual, of the Watts resident was conducted by Sergeant Banks and Officer James and Officer Coonrod. Refer to their individual reports for more information. Nothing further for this report. And going on down, this is going to be Baumhover's written notes, and I will do my best. It says, talking with Shanann, was going to friend's house today, 5:30 a.m. to work. Anna Darko, Cy East Hudson, Luke Apple, Cody Roberts, Troy McCoy, Thrive Sales at 4 and 3-year-old girls. Okay, Officer James report. And this says a witness, Addie Maloney. Witness, Cindy Darasette. Witness, Christina Meacham. On September the 4th, at the request of Detective Bomo, I contacted the following individuals that I spoke with on 8/13 to request the correct spelling of their names, addresses, and dates of birth. I spoke with Addie Maloney. I spoke with Addie after I had originally left her a voicemail requesting her call me back for me to obtain the information. I spoke with Christina Meacham. Christina advised her husband has an alternate phone number. I spoke with Cindy Darasette. Cindy advised she would cooperate in the case, but was reluctant to provide me with her address because she did not want her physical address published on court document. Cindy advised her name was released with the affidavit and a witness list. Cindy said she had no problem giving it, but was afraid of it being on a public document. Cindy advised after the second affidavit came out, she probably had 5 times more phone calls, including in the middle of the night. Cindy said they had her phone number somehow and said, like media and stuff like that. The information was relayed to Detective Baumover. I left a message for Sam Paisley, Jeremy Lindstrom. At the time of this report, I had not heard back from either party. Video footage uploaded to evidence.com. No further information. And this is going to be Officer James' written report, which is called a supplemental report. And it says Addie Maloney, Sam Paisley, Christina Mitchum, Jeremy Lindstrom, Cindy Darasette. Addie left, VM, Sam, Christina Meacham, husbands, Jeremy left voicemail, Cindy Darasette, reluctant to provide address due to publicity, Addie Maloney, Detective Baumover's report, filed on September the 5th. This supplemental report was generated for the purpose of booking in evidence collected at the autopsies of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts, conducted at McKee Medical Center, nothing further. Okay, so their autopsies were conducted at the McKee Medical Center. Now, in a previous video, I had stated that the McKee Medical Center had called them and told them that there was evidence they had there in a, I believe it was silver canister, and it had the name Celeste on it. So I was curious what those evidence was. And one of the subscribers, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name now, but you know who you are, and I do appreciate this. You said that it could have been the hair that was on the hatch of the battery. You know, there was like a little luft of hair that was on the hatch, like it had been pulled out or something as the baby was being put into it. And so they did take that as evidence, and this was what she thought it could have been. I think that's a real high likely that could have been what it was. I can't remember if I commented, but even if I did, I still want to thank you again, because that was some good insight into that. Down, this is going to be Detective Baumover, evidence chain of custody. Okay, this is going to be what they found at the crime scene and where they found it, I believe. And this one is going to be on Shanann. And it says they found 1 blue thong type underwear on the body. Item number 2, purple white cotton t-shirt with silver peace sign and heart on the body. Now see, there's the shirt that she had on, although Chris said she had on blue panties only, so I don't know if he wasn't paying attention, or I don't really know how you could have forgot. I don't know. Item number 3, a black bra found on the body. Item number 4, white metal post nose ring with a clear stone. It was found in her nose. Item number 5, brown paper bag, right hand. And they probably put that on her right hand for DNA reasons. Number 6, brown paper bag, left hand. Number 7, sheet. And it was used as a body bag. But the rescue people wrapped her in a sheet and used it as a body bag. That's why there was actually 2 sheets that was shown from the crime scene, because one they brought and put her in. Okay, item number 8, fingernails of the right hand. And so they clipped her nails, and this is for DNA purposes. None of the DNA was analyzed, by the way. I need to do something and tell y'all about that. The judge denied the DNA to be analyzed for whatever reasons. Number 9, fingernails from the left hand. 10, palm swabs from the right hand. Number 11, palm swabs from the left hand. Number 12, face swabs. 13, neck swabs. 14, control swabs. 15, x-ray disc. 16, DNA card. 17, fingerprints. 18, another neck swab, clean. Number 19, the fetus, Nico, and it was on Mom. That's really sad. Okay, this one is on Celeste. And item number 1, white underwear with Minnie Mouse. Item number 2, pink oil-soaked t-shirt. Item number 3, face swabs dirty. 4, face swabs clean. 5, neck swabs dirty. 6, neck swabs clean. 7, oral swabs. 8, vaginal swabs. 9, DNA card. 10, x-ray disc. 11, control swabs. 12, skin from right and left hands. 13, diaper destroyed. Going up to number 12, skin from the right and left hands. Most of you already know this, but some may not. When they took them out of the oil, their skin just came off. It's like they were degloved. The oil had disintegrated their skin. It's just, this is a hard part to go over right here. I don't see how the rescue workers, David Baumover, he got PTSD from this. His wife said he can't even look at 2 little girls anymore without having severe flashbacks. This really done a lot, not to everyone involved. You know, even still today, just reading this, you know, can you imagine the rescuers, the search and rescue people that had to perform this, what it done to them, the families? It's just unreal. Okay, this is Bella's. She had a pink pajama top with hearts and a butterfly design. Oil-soaked underwear. Face swabs clean. Neck swab clean. Neck swab dirty. Face swabs dirty. Oral swabs. Vaginal swabs. Left palm swabs. Right palm swabs. Left hand fingernail clippings. Right hand fingernail clippings. Control. DNA card. X-ray disc. Okay, going on down, this report date was 8/14. This is the Boulder County Sheriff's Office, and they assisted, you know, in the search. And this just states that outside agency assisting at 2825 Saratoga Trail. And that's the officer's name. Her assignment was a law enforcement technician. Shanann's name. Victim witness. I got Chris as a witness here. This report will detail a canine track during an agency assist for Frederick Police Department. Canine Scout and I responded to 2825 Saratoga to assist Frederick Police Department in locating a missing mother and her 2 children. Canine Scout and I found no trails leading away from the residence, and we advised Frederick police officers of our findings and were released from the scene. Recommended case status closed. And this was printed 8/22. Victim Shanann Watts. Witness Christopher Watts. Witness Katie T. And it reads, on 8/14 at approximately 10 a.m., Deputy Kate T. was dispatched along with Sardis, search and rescue dogs of the United States, to respond to Frederick Police Department for a canine track. I obtained permission from Sergeant Mike Linden to respond out of the county with my Canine Scout. Canine Scout is a bloodhound certified in suburban, trailing, and human remains detection through Sardis. 2 other Sardis handlers responded with me. Upon arrival, officers explained that a pregnant female named Shanann Watts and her 2 young daughters had been missing since 5:30 a.m. on 8/13. Her vehicle was still at the house along with her cell phone and any additional clothing or items for the children. Frederick Police Officer Perez then escorted us to the missing woman's address. After consent was obtained by Christopher Watts, I entered the home with 2 Frederick police officers to collect scent articles to use for the canine track. All laundry had been washed or touched by Christopher. The beds had been made by Christopher since Shanann and her children had disappeared, making it difficult to find a scent article. I asked Chris to point out their shoes, and he showed me a pair of flip-flops that Shanann had worn home from the airport. Chris had previously touched the straps of these sandals while wearing latex gloves. I placed a piece of sterile gauze in the flip-flops under the straps and let it stay there for a few minutes. Christopher also pointed out 2 pairs of shoes that his daughters worn home from a pool party on Saturday. Okay, and everything you're reading here, I do have in the video that you can even watch. Instead of just listening to it, you can actually see it in real time on the Chris Watts behind the scenes footage. So it's pretty interesting as well. Christopher told me he had touched the shoes when he put them on the deck to dry. I placed a sterile gauze down inside the toe portion of each pair of shoes for a few minutes. After the time had passed, I collected the gauze and placed them in Ziploc bags. I exited the house. Christopher gave one of the Frederick police officers consent to have a canine search his house. Sardis member Jane searched the house with her canine for human remains. Frederick County Park Ranger Jeff Hebert also searched the house with his canine. Afterwards, Ranger Hebert and I attempted tracks with our canine starting at opposite ends of the block. I scented Canine Scout on the gauze that I had collected from Shanann's shoe and told him to go find. We checked all surrounding intersections within a few blocks of the house. Canine Scout would either show a negative at the intersection or walk along the edge of what appeared to be a scent pool. At one point, Canine Scout turned from Wyndham into a field between Saratoga and Steeple. He circled the tanks in the field but lost interest. I brought him back to Wyndham Hill. We then continued checking intersections until we had completely circled the residence within the radius of a few blocks. During the track, I did not locate any scent trails leading away from the house. Ranger Hebert and his canine came to the same conclusion. I traced our path on a map provided by Frederick officers and gave it to Officer Perez and advised him of our findings. We were released from the scene. Nothing further. Recommended case status closed. And going on down, this is going to be the map of the trail they took the dogs on that day that she just talked about. And this is the area that the dogs covered that you see in red here. And this is the written of where they did it. They spent less than an hour in this part. The conditions were clear sky, 32. Wow. 32 for August the 14th. Not here. We're in triple digits here. Okay, and accomplished, yes, without help. And then the other trail that she discussed that they took, and then here is the written. It took less than an hour. Conditions, okay, it's up to 81 at that point. Yes, the same. Okay, incident report. This is from the Decano Police Department. Date reported 8/14. Saratoga Trail. Highway 52. This is the same area right in here that it was reported that suspicious vehicles. It was a white truck at like 1:30 a.m. was reported right in this area. Then the narrative, the date was written 8/15. It says, on August the 14th, 2018, I assisted Frederick Police Department by downloading the phone of Christopher Watts. Frederick Sergeant Albert brought the phone over. Sergeant Albert stated they had permission to search the phone and that he would send a copy over at a later date. I used the Sustain equipment provided by the Decano Police Department. The download began at 21:17 hours and was completed at 21:33 hours. I saved the report onto a thumb drive that was given to Sergeant Albert. I did not review or interpret the information for him. The Frederick case number is. Any further information will be added to a supplemental report. And then the supplemental narrative written by Jesse Lambert. 8:23, it says on 8:25 at about 7 a.m. I compressed the Secure View phone, downloaded of Christopher Watts to a zip folder, and uploaded it. Nothing further at this time. And the report was approved, and it was approved on the 21st. Case status cleared. Okay, moving on down, this is another incident report. This is going to be from Firestone Police Department. Date reported 8/16. How reported 911. They were assisting another agency. Shanann Watts, Christopher Watts, Bella, and Celeste. And the narrative written 8/16. And it reads, on the morning of August the 14th at approximately 9:30 a.m., I, Corporal DeWitt, was contacted by Sergeant Bedsaw with the Frederick Police Department via telephone. Bedsaw requested that I conduct a search with our small, unmanned aerial system, and that is a drone, of the area of West 2825 Saratoga, which is located in the town of Frederick, for a missing female and her 2 daughters. Bedsaw advised me that a pregnant mother, Shanann Watts, and her 2 3- and 4-year-old daughters, Celeste and Bella, were missing from the residence and had been missing since Monday afternoon. Bedsaw advised that Shanann had not taken a vehicle and her purse, phone, and wallet were still at the residence. Bedsaw advised that Shanann and her husband Christopher had been civilly discussing divorcing and had an emotional discussion the night before she and the kids went missing. I responded to the intersection of Summit Lane and Billings Avenue and set up the drone and completed the UAV mission checklist. I deployed the drone and searched the area between Highway 52 of the South, Weld County Roads 5 on the west and the west side of the Wyndham Hills subdivision, and approximately Holly Street on the north. I flew at various altitudes and started by flying north to south and moving in increments to the west. That allowed me to overlap the areas I'd already searched. I then flew random patterns, focusing on the canal ditches and bodies of water in the search area. I was unable to locate anything in the search area that appeared to be related to Shanann, Celeste, or Bella. I contacted Bedsaw and advised him of my findings. No further action taken at this time. Case management, William DeWitt. And it was approved by this person. And going on down, this is another incident report by Firestone Police Department. And date reported 8/20. And the assisted Frederick Police Department searching a well site near Rogan with the drone. And it says they're searching for Celeste, Bella. Well, the people involved is Celeste, Bella, Chris, and Shanann. And it reads, on August the 15th, 2018 at approximately 2 p.m., Commander Borders and myself met with Agent Matt Saylor and Agent Greg Center from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and a representative from Anadarko, Luke Apple, at the Love's truck stop in Hudson, Colorado. Well, that was an odd place to meet, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. We were requested by Commander Dave Egan with the Frederick Police Department to assist in searching the area around an oil well site located at, and it gives the longitude, latitude, and all that, which is located in the county of Weld in the state of Colorado. with their small unmanned aerial system drone for anything that might be related to the disappearance of Shanann Watts and her two daughters, Celeste and Bella. Luke led us out to the site, and Greg confirmed that we had permission from Anadarko to search the area. Greg advised us that on the morning before Shanann, Celeste, and Bella were reported missing, Chris Watts had come out to this well site for work, which had been confirmed with a GPS in his work truck. When we arrived at the site, Luke explained the layout of the site. The site was surrounded by a barbed wire fence, and the main site was within that fence. On the south side of the site was the well. To the northeast of the well was a separator, and to the north of the separator was a small tank that was open on top with a net over it that held water, and two larger tanks that were directly to the west of the water tank that held oil and water. Luke explained the water in the smaller tank was removed from the larger tanks as the oil and water separated, leaving primarily oil in the larger tanks. Myself and Borders set up Matrice, the drone, and Borders completed the UAV mission checklist. Borders the drone first and started by taking overall photos of the area and the oil well site. Borders then began a systematic search inside the fenced area and started by flying over the south side of the site. Within a few minutes, Borders discovered what appeared to be some type of white cloth or fabric in the field to the south of the site. Borders hovered over the white fabric and requested I walk out to where the fabric was to see if I could determine what it was. As I was walking south towards the material, I came across an area where the ground had visibly been disturbed, as if somebody had been digging there. I pointed out my findings to Sailor. At that time, Borders requested that we come back to the vehicle, as he had been able to get close enough to the material to identify it as a bedsheet. Greg advised us that during their search of the Watts residence that morning, there was a fitted sheet that was missing from a bedsheet set that was found in the trash. I advised Greg of the area that we had discovered where the ground was disturbed. I then took control of the drone and photographed the well site from the south, incorporating the sheet and the disturbed ground in my photographs. I also took close-up and located the head of a rake in the dirt. I later located the handle of the rake to the east of dirt. Borders and Sailor went out into the field to verify that the item was a sheet. They approached the sheet by circling around the fence to the south from the west and approached the sheet from the south. They were able to confirm it was a sheet and also located two black garbage bags with red drawstrings in the field near the sheet. After identifying the sheet, they came back to the vehicles the same way they went in. Later, Sailors, Borders, and myself went out into the field by circling around the fence line to the south from the west and approached the sheet from the south again. Sailor confirmed the pattern on the sheet matched the pattern from the Watts residence, and that it was a fitted sheet, which was the type of sheet that was missing from the Watts residence. While we were waiting for further direction, Sailor came over and advised us that Christopher had confessed to killing Shanann, Celeste, and Bella. Wait a minute. Christopher had not confessed to killing them all at that point. So, obviously they believed beyond a reasonable doubt that he did kill them all three. That was their belief. This distinctively says that Christopher confessed to killing Shanann, Celeste, and Bella. But no, he did not. Not at this time. He had only confessed to killing Shanann, not Celeste and Bella. He had confessed to putting them in the tanks, but not to killing them. So that, I don't know, that had confessed to killing Shanann, Celeste, and Bella. That's not true. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. That's just not true. He did not. To my knowledge, it damn sure wasn't in this discovery, and it damn sure wasn't on any video we seen, and not what he told his dad. So it was only Shanann, not the girls. Sailor advised that he had disposed of the body somewhere in the area of the well site we were at. Later, Sailor brought over his cell phone and showed Borders and myself one of the pictures I had taken with the drone showing the disturbed ground and the well site in it. Sailor told us that Chris had marked on the picture where he had disposed of the bodies. The disturbed ground had initials written on it, and each storage tank initials written on them. Sailor stated Shanann was buried where the ground was disturbed, and Celeste and Bella's bodies were each one inside tanks. Borders redeployed the drone and photographed the oil storage tanks where Celeste and Bella's bodies were presumed to be. CBI crime scene unit arrived on scene and requested that we take more photos of the oil storage tanks and a video of the entire scene. I redeployed the drone and photographed the oil storage tanks from various angles, and then recorded a video showing the site from a 360-degree view, the close-ups of the major area of interest. That conducted the use of the drone at the oil well site. Photographs have been attached to this report and saved in our digital evidence folder. The video was not attached to this report due to its size. The CBI's crime scene unit later requested assistance when they were exhuming what was presumed to be Shanann's body from the shallow grave. I assisted by moving sand and dirt away from the edges of the dig site as they unearthed the body. I had no further participation at this scene once the body was removed from the shallow grave. No further action taken at this time. Okay, this is the narrative of Bryce Borders. It was written on 8/22. And it says on 8/15/18 at approximately 9 a.m., I was asked by Sergeant Ian Albert at the Frederick Police Department if we could deploy our drone in the area of a oil and gas well site for photos and to search for anything related to their missing persons case. I advised we could, and Sergeant Albert said they would call later in the day when they were ready. At approximately 13:30 hours, which is 1:30 p.m., on 8/15, I was contacted by Commander Dave Egan of the Frederick Police Department regarding the use of the drone at the oil and gas site. Commander Egan advised me to meet 2 Colorado Bureau of Investigation agents and an Anadarko representative at the Love's gas station in Hudson, and we would carpool to the oil and gas site north of the town of Rogan. I asked Commander Egan if permission from the controller of this particular property had been granted, and I was advised is the controller of the property, and they had granted permission to do so. On the scene of an oil and gas site, the Anadarko representative Luke Eppel explained they control the pad site and the property surrounding the pad encircled with a barbed wire fence. The drone, Maurice 1 FAA registration number was assembled for use. Initially, I took photos of the oil and gas sites, see attached photos. Afterwards, I began a systematic search of the property encircled in a barbed wire fence area south of the main pad site. I observed an object that didn't match the color of the surrounding terrain. I maneuvered the drone lower to observe the object and identified the object as a bedsheet. See the attached photo. After the discovery of the sheet, I landed the drone. Myself and Agent Matt Saylor with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation approached the sheet on foot from the southernmost point of the fence to observe the sheet. While doing so, we observed 2 black trash bags in close proximity to the sheet. Later, myself and Agent Saylor approached the sheet again from the same direction as before. To compare the pattern of the sheet to a photo Agent Saylor had from the sheets in the Watts home, the sheet pattern in the photo matched the pattern of the sheet at the oil and gas site. I then remained on scene to assist in exhuming the presumed body of Shanann Watts. I assisted by moving dirt a short distance away from the edge of the dig site as CBI investigators removed dirt to expose the body. Afterwards, I cleared the scene. On 8/16/2018, I removed the photos and videos in the drone. I placed the photos on a thumb drive and the video on another thumb drive and delivered them to the Frederick Police Department. I then placed the photos and videos in the digital evidence folder of the Firestone Police Department storage system under this case number. End of report. William DeWitt, approved by Bryce Borders, date approved 8/23, and it was an investigation team. And then here you will see the photos, and I will go over them so you can see each one that the drone did take. Okay, so I'm going to end part 6 right here, because in part 7 we're going to be going into the rescue of the girls, and that's a pretty rough rescue. So I'm going to end part 6 right here, and I will have part 7 up very soon, 7 and 8. I'm going to try to get to reading the rest of this as soon as I get these uploaded. So I'm going to try to start getting them out a whole lot quicker. I'm going to try to do them very close together. I would have already had more up, but that little mishap I had over the weekend was very frustrating, where I would continue to record without my mic on. That was very frustrating, so I just had to take a break from it, take a step back. But I'm back, and I will be back very soon with part 7. This is Unjustified.